The Vantage Point. Get ready to laugh with and be inspired by Owen Burroughs, motivational speaker on the Dr. Speaks team, passionate about helping people, a creator of the 100,000-pound weight loss challenge in Bahamas. Owen is no stranger to the Vantage Point. Now he's back offering guidance for those who are willing to create change.
We have to be able to interact with each other on a supreme level of love.
The Vantage Point starts now. Welcome back to The Vantage Point. I'm your host, Azandi, and I just want to thank all the viewers for joining us another week. We ask that you help to share this podcast with your friends and your family. And welcome to all our new viewers joining us for the first time. Here we like to inspire Nubian Melaninites that look just like you all across the globe to see your lives and see the world from a different vantage point, a different perspective. One that would propel you towards awakening through action. So we bring on different speakers, scholars, philosophers, theologians. The doctors speak especially because there are professionals from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life that join us here on the podcast and gives us health tips. They join us just to give us values, things that we can use in our everyday fight against racism, white supremacy, and I just fight in life, dealing with each other. So today's topic I'm excited for, and we titled it Your Voice, Your Success, and Take Charge of Your Relationships. I believe in order to have a voice, you have to have confidence. So we're going to talk about confidence today, doubt, the different battles that we face and try to become the best version of ourselves. So we have with us a special guest. I call all the guests special. They probably like, we all special. I have with us a guest, Elder Owen Burroughs, as I call him. And he has joined us here on the Vantage Point before. And so we love to invite him back to have these conversations with us. And we want to welcome you again, Elder. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Big earrings, those earrings and everything shining. I don't know if it's shea butter or something.
This is the Journey Home Group Shea Butter. Okay, I keep telling people get the best line. We put the link down below.
75 pounds.
Thank you again for joining us. And so today we want to speak. We just want to have a conversation. And I really, really wanted you for this topic because of your experience. You have so much experience just in your professional background and for yourself, the many strides and changes that you had to make for yourself, especially in your weight loss journey, which you often share with everyone. It takes a lot. I don't think people understand because, listen, I work out and people, if you don't exercise, you don't know how hard it is and how much effort it takes to push yourself, even when you don't feel like it. So you have something that drives you. And that's why I asked you to join us today, to help to give us that fortitude and that drive and to understand, how we do that, not just physically, but within ourselves, within our personality, and the people in which we interact with. So one of the things that I would like to begin addressing is our confidence. I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with, is our confidence. And the lack of confidence affects our relationships with people, our business relationships. Michelle Obama has a quote that says, "Your success will be determined by your own confidence and fortitude." So I would like to ask you, what are some problems that we face with confidence? And then we'll go into, the who, the what, the where, the how we resolve it, all of that. But let's just start with, what do you see? What's some of these issues that we do face?
Well, when you have an individual that has a lack of self-confidence, it's very, very difficult for that individual to do anything meaningful beyond the scope of them, the individual self. Self-confidence is the foundation for achieving anything meaningful beyond an individualistic approach. Because self-confidence means that you have come to grips with who you are. You've identified that a part of the Creator resides within you. You understand that you have this divine willpower within you that allows you to be able to pursue and achieve meaningful goals. It allows you to do things that are beneficial for more than just you as an individual. So you step away from individuality to group thinking. And that is a very important. I want the listeners to really grab what we're going to be talking about today, because this self-confidence is what's eroding our ability as a people to stand and take full place among the peoples of the world.
Yes. So I'm getting my pen and paper, because
we'll get it ready. Make sure you got plenty of ink. I'm going to be hitting you hard today.
I tell people, listen, because a lot of times, we listen to things and we hear things, but we don't really digest it. I'm like, write it down, go back, look at it, and then apply it to yourself. So when I'm sitting here, you'll always see me with my pen, and I do apologize for looking down. I have two cameras. Now, as it pertains to our feelings, our emotions towards each other and in business, right? When we can even begin in business, right? Because I know you're really been successful at that. How for you, how did confidence allow you to boost your success as an entrepreneur and all the different things that you've done? And also in the weight loss challenge that you had, and that you began something in Bahamas for other people. So beginning in those fields, right? How did your confidence allow you to be successful?
Well, I had to learn confidence, self-confidence.
Yes.
And because it's the difference between self-confidence and being self-conceited. You see, that self-confidence comes from a selflessness, from a self-sacrificing point of view. And it takes self-confidence to be successful. And when you grasp who you are, and you start to become in tuned with your destiny, with knowing who you are and knowing why you are on earth, and knowing that you ultimately have to be able to sow into humanity, to be able to make individuals better, to make situations better, to make your neighborhood better, to make your country better, to make the world better by what you deposit into the atmosphere, the environment you find yourself in. So every situation you go in and you're trying to bring value. Someone that has self-confidence is trying to bring value to every interaction they have. Someone that's self-conceited is trying to extract from that situation for their individual gain. But when you tap into the self-confidence, you don't quit easily. You don't let others define who you are, or what you can become. Because people are going to put limitations on you based on their limited perspective, because of their lack of self-confidence, because of their inability to see the greatness within themselves, to see the presence of the divine creator within themselves. And so it's now impossible for them to be able to identify, how can someone pursue such a lofty goal? How dare you try to say you want to be the top sales? How dare you say you want to start a nonprofit organization? How dare you say you want to start the 100,000 pound challenge in the Bahamas? Because it's so big that they can't see themselves achieving it. So they now want to project that limitation on you. And that's where you as an individual have to have the self-confidence in yourself, knowing that the Creator has empowered you with everything you need to be successful. And now you're using those tools, those talents, those experiences to advance humanity by doing something that will result in a positive income for others. When you take yourself out of the picture as far as personal reward, self-confidence can really lead to tremendous success.
Yes. I'm so glad you used those words, because one of the next things I was going to ask was a doubt, right? And because a person is doubtful of themselves, now they're doubting everyone else. And now they're doubting your abilities because they don't truly believe in their own. So where do you believe this doubt stems from?
Doubt really comes from a lack of memory.
Mm,
Let me tell you what I mean.
mm,
We forget who we are.
mm,
We think that person that's weak, that's crying in the corner, huddled in the fetal position because they think it's too hard. We think that's who we really are. That's not who we are.
mm,
I keep cue cards that I write who I am because I cannot rely on my memory to speak life into me. My memory will fail me, and it will cause you to be stuck in an inferior position on a low frequency. So I have cue cards. I wish I had them on the table. I
mm,
get cue cards and I write on it to remind myself of who I really am. So on this cue card that I have all types of things. I have written, oh, and remember when you ran that 5 miles in the hot sun and you thought you couldn't do it? You made it. Your back was burning. You wanted to quit, but you didn't.
mm,
Remember when you won Salesman of the Year 3 years in a row? Remember when you spoke to that group of 700 doctors in Kenya? Remember when you did this? Remember when you did that? Because we have to remind ourselves of those wins. It's like depositing money into an account. I cannot go to the ATM and withdraw funds from an account that has no deposits. So how can I become confident? How can I pursue success when I have no success to draw on? See, all of those small wins help you to achieve bigger wins. So when you're feeling like you can't do it, we have to stop looking externally to overcome doubt. Overcoming doubt begins internally with you and with the experiences that you've gone through. That's why it's so important not to quit tasks, because when you quit, you develop a history of quitting. Quitting becomes easier because you've made quitting your standard. You've made doubt your standard. Your self resides in a seed of doubt. You will never achieve what you really want to achieve. You have to understand that those weak situations will come. Self-doubt will come, but it doesn't have to remain with you. When I feel doubtful, I remind myself who I am. I've read those cue cards so often that I know them internally. So when I'm home today, I went to the gym. I didn't feel like going. But I said, Owen, if you don't go, you know how bad you're going to feel at the end of the day knowing you didn't do it? Remember when you ran that 5 miles in the Bahamas along the beach and you didn't want to do it and your knee was hurting and you did it anyway and you completed it? Remember that you had to work all night to finish that report for work? And it was a stellar report. You pushed through and got it done. That's who you really are. The person that can achieve through adversity, not through their own individual ability, but because the Creator has given us that divine willpower to achieve. See, life is going to happen. Doubt is going to happen. Now, do you want doubt to reside in your home? Or is doubt just going to visit and you tell them, open the door and say, you got to leave. You're not welcome here. Doubt will come. But are we allowing doubt to set up shop in our environment? Or are we ushering him right back out the door when he shows up?
Oh, you see, you're going far ahead now. You're going too far ahead. You're dropping a lot of jewels. Okay. So I'm going to circle back around to a couple of the things that you mentioned, Elder. But one of the things you said was that you had to remember. You have to remember who you are. And you spoke of the cue cards. Now, a lot of people may have the cue cards, and they may have the the quotes from whoever it is that they look up to, or they may be in an atonist and have all the sayings from Basesh, and they may, whoever you are, sometimes it is present, but sometimes that's not enough. So what happens when a person is provided the proper information, right, for success, but that's not enough of a reminder? Is it that you mentioned exercise, and I don't know, exercise is not just a physical thing, but we also have to exercise our minds. So is it the lack of not just remembering it, but exercising and using and applying it and being mindful? If you can guide us on what happens then when
Sure.
we have to dig a layer deeper.
See, what happens is when an individual wants to remain in a position that's comfortable,
Mm.
it creates an adult that has undeveloped potential from the mental level to the physical level to the emotional level to the spiritual level. See, difficulty brings growth. Difficulty brings opportunity. A butterfly never can manifest until that caterpillar makes a decision to enter that cocoon. It doesn't retreat. It's in that cocoon and it wraps itself in there and it's incubated in that cocoon and comes out completely transformed. It changes its entire body structure. That has to be a painful experience for a worm-like creature to come out as a flying, beautiful butterfly. You're in the furnace of conversion. When you avoid difficult things, you deny yourself the ability to maximize your internal potential. You avoid difficult things because it's not comfortable. And we become adults. We become individuals that can never face what life has to bring. You see, when you do something hard every day, you develop a callous mentally that you can achieve anything. You can handle the bad news when a loved one dies. You can handle the bad news when the job tells you that they're downsizing and they don't need you anymore. You can handle the bad news of a breakup, a lost relationship. You can handle the bad news of failing in business because you don't welcome those situations, but it's going to happen. We have to prepare for them. So while you're in an environment where they may not be materializing, start to put yourself through difficult, challenging situations so that you can develop the muscular fortitude, the muscle memory to respond and to excel and get through difficult things. I try to do something difficult every day, something I don't want to do. And why do I do it? Because I don't want to do it. I do it because I don't want to do it. And so when I do it, when I go to the gym, when I don't want to go, I now make another deposit into my strength bank that I can draw on when I'm weak to build my self-confidence, to remove the doubt. Because you cannot experience self-confidence through someone else's experience. You have to go through it. I don't care how much books you read. I don't care how much quotes you read. I don't care how many cue cards you write. If it doesn't reflect your experiences, you will never emotionally connect to it to make it manifest.
Elder, thank you so much. There is, and you mentioned winning, right? There's, a lot of different perspectives on winning. My win may be different from your win, which may be different from someone else's win. And there's a saying from Arbasesh, Haru Hoteptar, and he says that people are so used to losing that they believe winning is losing. He said, I'm trying to get you to see the win. He's like, but you're so used to losing that you think losing is winning, right? And so when you say that you have to remind yourself of the win, what is winning?
See, first of all, winning is different for everyone. Whose perspective of winning are we trying to accomplish? Someone else's win, that's their win, that's good for them may not be the best win for us. Some of us think winning is moving out of the Black communities and getting a home in a gated community filled with people that don't look like you. Some people think winning is never having to go back to those inner communities and working at the soup kitchen or seeing the homeless. And some people think winning is leaving all that behind. We have to first define what is winning, not from an individualistic standpoint, but how do I win and now pour this winning into other people? But winning is not just financial. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead, sis.
No, you keep saying, pour into someone else, and it's not individual. And I don't think that that's a common statement, right? Or concept. So just for the viewers, especially listening for the first time, what do you mean pour into someone? Because people may say, well, I pour it into my children. What do you mean exactly? Is it just my household type of thing? Or what? Can you please go further into detail for us?
Well, I'm going to talk to everything, although I've learned a lot of things outside of the African perspective. Mm-hmm. By coming home to this reality through atonism, I've learned to shift a lot of my mentality from an Afrocentric viewpoint. In other words, I'm thinking about not just myself, my wife, and my children, but even the community that goes beyond it, because we are one family. I'm talking about global Nubian family. We have to now understand that your success, when you think you've achieved as an individual, there is no way you did it alone, because someone gave birth to you, someone raised you, someone taught you and educated you, someone gave you an opportunity, someone forgave your mistakes, someone pulled you on the side and showed you the right way to do it. Someone said, don't do it this way, do it that way. So in order for me to be alive today, hundreds of thousands of my ancestors had to push through and survive to give me the opportunity to be birthed. My success is not my success. They are all succeeding through me. But I have a responsibility now to sow that success in an environment that will breed more success. I don't want a seed. I want a farm. I want a forest. I want a fruit tree, not a fruit. So when we use our successes and we now extend that to others, whether it's through volunteering to teach an adult class every week, whether it's working with at-risk teenagers, whether it's working in a soup kitchen, whether it's starting a clothing bank and raising needy things for people that are homeless, and whatever you do, you are now pursuing eternal life, because those deeds that you invested in those individuals, they can now take that blessing, that success, and elevate themselves and others. So you create tentacles of success.
Okay. Now, we spoke a lot about confidence, but, and the win and, these different things that you gave us, but how does it relate to a person's values, right? Because we're in a world that's been so corrupted. We're in a world that's filled with so much chaos. We're in a world that's given us all the wrong solutions. So what does a person use to affix the correct values to themselves and to their interactions with others?
Now, this may sound controversial, but values cannot exist outside of spirituality. True value, true moral value cannot exist without spirituality, because that spirituality, that doctrine, that belief system that you have provides the foundation, the benchmark of what morality is. Some people, some years ago, thought it was morally right to own slaves. It was not against the law. They were church-going individuals. They thought they were morally right to own slaves, to deny Black people their freedom. They thought they were morally right through their viewpoint. So when we talk about morality, we have to understand that we have to first define what morality template, What guidelines of morality are we going to be using to judge ourselves? What's that benchmark? What's the doctrine? What's the spiritual concept and philosophies and teachings around morality? And now, how do I operate within the boundaries of those moralities, ma'at, universal order and the balancement of deeds? How do I now interact with individuals, the planet, the environment, in a way where I don't bring an adverse situation and impact others negatively? That's morally, but it's based in spirituality. So you have to become spiritual. We have become religious, but we haven't become spiritual. We've put down spirituality to pick up religion. We've put down spirituality for economical impact and for status and for clicks and likes and for shares and for Instagram success and social media exposure. But ultimately, we have to understand that we have a greater calling. We are divine beings in physical form. And when we tap into self-confidence, the right moral code and conduct, when we're following the spiritual systems that we have in place, whatever that is, you can now pursue the task of being someone that other individuals consider special, or that person is making a change. I want to be like that. And now your self-confidence has evolved, has resulted in a situation where you start to inspire others. Because if your self-confidence and the way you conduct yourself does not inspire others, what good is it?
It's interesting you say that, right? Because as I think of this topic, even when we say self-confidence, sometimes it can be a little isolated, right? I can have self-confidence at my workplace. I can have self-confidence in business meetings. I can have self-confidence, in my entrepreneurship. But how does this self-confidence spill over into the other aspects of my life, into my relationship with my husband or wife, or into my relationship? You understand? So sometimes I think these things can be isolated, especially for the what they call picture perfect view, right? For those who see me to be postured and self-confident and just exuding this great, personality that everyone loves. But how do we now allow that to spill over to other aspects of our lives, especially the home environment?
Well, we have to stop taking ourselves so seriously. We're taught in atonism. We have a book on etiquettes that gives us guidelines on how we are to live our lives. It helps us to set boundaries so that we can achieve self-confidence, so that we can achieve these things that the world says is so hard and old-fashioned and you don't need them anymore. But they are the values that allowed us to be great civilizations that ruled ourselves for thousands and thousands of years. We have to stop taking ourselves so seriously. Sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves because we don't want to laugh at ourselves. We think we're perfect. And when you think you're perfect, any mistake is magnified. I carry a magnifying glass around with me in my pocket. It's a little small magnifying glass, but I don't carry it around so that I can magnify my mistakes. I take it so that I can understand that when I magnify and focus my attention, my ability to a task, I can achieve it. Just like you can hold a magnifying glass in the sun, and that you can now take that large sun and send it to a concentrated point, and it can burn the Kindle at the end of that magnifying glass. So when you start to understand that all of these components of our lives are not separate, you don't need confidence at work and then struggle for confidence at home and confidence on the business side and confidence, and they're all related. You have to understand that I have to find out how to transfer that confidence self to the other environments by removing the perceived pressures I'm putting on myself, to not let society define what the expectations of each of those individual compartments of my life should be. Because when you allow society to set to determine the rule book on what our marriage should be, our home should be, we're trying to now live up to the standards that others have put on us. That's not our standards. What Does the great African, the great Black writers and authors and teachers, what did our great civilization say about that topic? What was their standard? Let's try to achieve that standard and not the standard of others that don't look like us, that haven't had our experiences, that don't have our challenges, that can't identify with the things that we're going through. And we're trying to live up to their expectations, which is a false narrative, because we will never be a good version of someone else. We can only be the best versions of ourselves. So we need to take that confidence, remove the walls and the compartmentalized areas of our lives, and let that confidence bubble over into the other areas. Sometimes we need to ask for help. It takes a lot of confidence to say, I need help. That's the ultimate expression of self-confidence. I don't know how to do this. I need someone to help me, to teach me, to hold my hand and help me to navigate this difficult situation. Can you please help me? I see you doing it. I see you winning. I see you losing that weight. I see you, you excelling in business. I see you got that great garden. Can you tell me how you did it and help me? I promise I will be a good student. I will do what you say. I won't question and push back against you. I'm going to listen to you, and I'll do what you say because I want the results that you have.
Elder, I'm going to push back. Some things that you said, I need to go dig a little bit deeper into.
Let's go.
We're talking false ego. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. You're tuned into The Vantage Point.
Right now, get conscious news every month. Stay up to date with the Cryptic Revealer. Every month, you can expect conscious perspectives, balanced advice, inspirational stories, together with provoking discussions on every topic. Read and enjoy a magazine that goes beyond and above the scenes. What you waiting for? Start your collection now. This full-color magazine for just $3 US. You can get it as a PDF to read on the go, or as a physical copy to read in the comfort of your homes. Stacking too high? Don't throw it. You can leave it at the train stations, barber salons, taxis, buses, cafes. Someone will need it. The Cryptic Revealer at www.journeymomgroup.com.
What has happened to the Nubian Melaninite male? My brother, what are you doing? Look at you standing over there. How have you forgotten who you are? Come on, man. We're better than this. Killing each other, selling drugs in our neighborhood, listening to crazy music, allowing women, our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, our wives, to go unprotected. When do we stand? Who will stand with me? Will we fix the world in which we find ourselves today? Can it be done? I say yes. What say you? Join the Holy Cryptic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, today.
Is the Nubian male an endangered species? Order your book today at www.journeyhomegroup.com.
Welcome back to the Vantage Point. Again, I'm your host, Azandi Malinki, and I want to thank you for staying tuned in with us for the second half of today's segment. Today, again, we're talking your voice, your success, take charge of your life. We have with us a guest, Elder Owen Burrows. I call him Elder, but Owen Burrows to many. And he's given us so much so far. But this half, I'm going to push back because, you know, it sounds so good and it sounds so easy and it sounds like something so achievable. But we all deal with or wrestle with this ego, which we say is the false ego, right? And there's also a term which our team will show us the definition for false bravado. Bravado, many people don't understand, is also an extension of that false ego and something that we have to examine. So I want us, if possible, Elder Owen, to look further into or talk more about this false ego, because why would I humble myself? And I know we all don't like the word humble, right? I'll use a different term. Modesty is on the whole other side of the spectrum than this false ego. Modesty means freedom from exaggeration, self-control. I'm going to read it. Moderation, sense of humor, correctness of conduct. So in order to self-correct, in order to correct myself and to take instruction, I have to be modest and be, very, kind in my deliverance, in my interactions, I hope this makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
And my mannerisms. So because this modesty is on the whole other side of the spectrum than this false ego. And this false ego is what we see most prevalent in society today. This is what people face and what we deal with. How can I take instructions or humble myself or ask for your help? How? How can I? Because I feel less than by taking from you. How?
But an individual has to change their vantage point. Okay. You know how hard it is for me to live my life? It's hard living one life. Now, how am I going to live my life and your life? I can't live your life. Each individual has to come to that moment. In business, they call it the day that turns your life around.
Yes.
You draw a line in the sand and you say, no more. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that comes through scraping knees, that comes through failings, that comes through hardship. But an individual must become ready, willing to be coached. In business, the most successful individuals have mentors. The richest men in the world have mentors that hold them accountable. When you decide to become less, it allows you to become more. Okay, if I bought a glass and I put it on your table with a 16-ounce glass, and I have a gallon of coconut water, and I want to pour coconut water into your 16-ounce glass, I can only give you 16 ounces. I want to give you the gallon, but your cup, your container can only hold 16 ounces. No matter how much they want to give you 128 ounces. The only way you can get that 128 ounces if you remove that 16-ounce glass and you replace it with a container that can hold 128 ounces. So we have to remove the shallowness of ourselves. We have to take our emotions out of it. Because are you trying to achieve something that's greater than your emotions? When you want to achieve greatness, you cannot do it alone. You need someone to pour into the container of your development.
But I am the container, Elder. I am the container. I am the cup. I am the container. I don't know if it's hard to accept that if you weren't pouring into me, there would be nothing to pour into.
But you have to see, it's a difference from being a container and being willing to change that container to a different container. Your growth can only happen through challenge, through stretching, through pushing yourself beyond the comfort zone. Nobody is happy or comfortable being told all of their weak spots and weak points. That's why choosing a mentor is the most important choice you can make. It has to be someone you trust, someone that demonstrates the things that you want to see emulated in your life, someone that has the same moral fabric that can hold you to be something greater than you are on your own. It has to show you in real living time, what you can become. So now that puts an individual in a position where they want to be receptive. That pushback, that masculine polarity now changes to a receptive polarity where, okay, I give you the authority to coach me. I now will recondition my mind to be more receptive to what you're telling me because I want to achieve this thing. The greatest basketball players in the world, they hire shooting coaches. They hire strength and conditioning coaches. They hire nutritionists because although they may have a $400, $200, $100 million contract, they understand that in order for them to be the best they can be, they need experts in each of these individual areas to sow into their life. So they strip down their false ego, right? And now they become someone that's receptive. They've changed their perspective. They've changed their vantage point. When you change your vantage point, that's the day that turns your life around. You can now elevate yourself because you are now willingly accepting this coaching with love. This is not a hammer on a nail. This is someone that genuinely believes and cares for you and wants you to be successful. And they're coaching you from a position of love.
Okay. Now, you have a saying, I cannot trust my success to my feelings and my emotions, for they will betray me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did I say that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So because we deal with this thing called feelings, and part of the title today was taking charge of your relationships. So I want to go into the relationship aspect because in a public environment, dealing with a coworker or a business partner, that can work. But when you are so close in proximity to someone that gets to see more of those flaws that we spoke about, and you say you shouldn't be ashamed of because we all need improving. But when you become close to someone in a relationship, how do you eliminate this false ego where you are able to share in the essence of that person without feeling like they're taking away from you and correcting? Or, go ahead, Elder. I'll let you. I'm going to stop because I'll keep going and keep going.
I've been married 27 years.
Yes.
And nothing hurts me as much as when my wife says something to me.
Mm.
She knows how to say it. She knows the pitch to say it in. She knows which words to stress in a sentence to me. And that digs into me.
Mm.
It digs into me and it hurts. And sometimes I don't want to hear it. And I push back. But then I understand that, is it what she is saying, the way she's saying it, or what is she expressing?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to separate the messenger from even the way the message is presented. What is the message? Because not everyone is going to say it in the way you want to hear it or receive it, but is there truth in it? If you were to address those truths, will it lead to a better outcome for you, for the family? Then you have to put that ego down. Do you know, when me and my wife have disagreements, I'm always the first one to walk across that divide and extend that olive branch. You know why? Because I understand that I have to always strive to be the bigger person because I want my family to be successful. And if I listen to my feelings and my emotions, I will be a staunch person. I'll be stubborn. I won't, allow myself to pursue peace. So when you are faced with situations, especially with people that are close to you, you have to understand, what is the end goal? We are taught in the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah that it's more important to determine what the goal is. Are we trying to win? With our definition of winning, are we trying to win, or are we trying to beat individuals up in the pursuit of winning? We're trying to win. People on championship teams don't all like each other. Some of them never interact off of the pitch, outside, off the basketball court or the football field. But on that field, when it's time to play, they are synergy. They are working together for one goal. And when we understand that this goal that this person is mentioning to us, or this thing that they're saying we're doing wrong in this relationship, you have to analyze and strip away the anger, the way it's presented, the pitch it's being presented in. What is the message here? We have to use a higher level of thinking. What is the message? And is this message that's being conveyed beneficial for me and my family, or the situation I find myself in? If it is, put your arms around it.
Now, I need some practical, real-time examples. If you're dealing with a spouse, or if you're dealing with a family member, if you're dealing with a friend, someone who suffers from this false ego or this false bravado syndrome, and you want the best for them, what words do you use to tear down the false ego? Because a lot of times we know how to tear down the false ego within ourselves, because we know our past, we know our history, we know our buttons, we know the things that created the trauma. How do you tear down the false ego in someone else that you love? What do you say to them specifically? Give us some of those keywords. Give us some of those.
See, it's hard to tear down the false ego in someone else. I got to live my life and tear down the false egos within me. Now, as we interact with individuals, we know there are people, you can't tell them nothing. They know everything. The minute you say it, they're going to push back and say, yeah, but what about this? Do you do it? They're going to take that energy and throw it back on you in a negative way. Those individuals have to come to a self-realization that they need to change. Change begins with an individual decision. I cannot make my daughter change as much as I love her. She has to first be willing to change. She has to see someone achieve the changes that she wants to achieve, which inspires her and gives her confidence to do it. She must be prepared to take the first step and fail and fall short, but try again, to remember and account for those small victories, because those small victories are the stepping stones to the big goal. We focus on the end result too much. You can't focus on the end goal. Focus on the daily activity that you can do that will affect that end goal, and just focus on that every day, and the end goal will come. See, you can't sit in the front of a fire and say, give me heat. You have to take that wood and chop it up and put it in that fireplace, and now it'll warm the room. We have to be willing to put in the work to get that which we want. But it's an individual decision cultivated in a communal effort that will bring results that we all can benefit from. It starts with us looking in the mirror and saying, I have to be better. I want to be better. And now I'm in a position of receptivity, and the teacher will appear to help guide you on that path to a better you.
What's some of the books that you've read? I want 3 books, one pertaining to business, one pertaining to relationships, one pertaining to spirituality, that will speak to today's topic of confidence, ego, values, taking charge, using your voice and projecting your voice, but the voice of the creator, the voice of, sustainer, where it's not tainted by society. So what are 3 books that you can recommend to those watching? that you've read and you've applied to
Mhm.
your life.
Well,
Hmm.
well, when it comes to that creator, there are two books that I would recommend very highly. One is called The Ancients, The Attributes in You, right? The ancients, the elements and attributes within you, because it allows you to understand who you are. When you understand the divine presence that is within you, you understand that anything can be achieved. It's only the limitations we put on ourselves because we are children of the divine creator. That book, The Ancients, the Attributes and Elements in You, and The Complete Etiquettes of Nobility.
Who is the
Once you know
author?
who you
Please
are,
state the
that's
author.
Dr. AJ Varma. Those books are available at www.journeyhomegroup.com. The Ancients, Elements and Attributes in You. The second one is called The Complete Etiquettes of Nobility, because once you identify with who you are, you need to know now how do you take that internal divinity, that desire to be successful and to change your life, how do you put it in an actionable step that you can follow? How do you now take and interact with individuals in a way that creates balancement and brings value in every encounter? How are you to present yourself? When people see you, they're going to judge you before you open their mouth. How should you dress? How should you address others? How should you interact with others? Those two books will provide an individual with a solid foundation to pursue a higher level of living and existence. When it comes to business, I strongly recommend The Power of Habit by Duhigg, or Atomic Habits, because habits are the number one reason businesses are successful or businesses fail. Habits. Habits is what you continually to do every day, whether it's beneficial or it's not beneficial. When you start to understand habit loops, what are these triggers? Why am I doing this over and over and getting these results? What do I need to change? And how do I reflect or redo these steps so that I can have a better outcome? Understanding the power of habit will allow you to achieve some business goals. And when it comes to relationships, I always thought I was an expert on relationships. I'm 57 years old and I'm still learning. Oh my goodness. I've made so many mistakes in relationships, trying to be that prince that got down on one knee, trying to be the guy in the fairy tale magazine and the Prince Charming. It didn't work. It's not who we are. We need to get back to loving and interacting with others in the way that made our African ancestors great, that made them the envy of the world because of what they were able to achieve. Why was Marcus Garvey so successful with Amy Jacks Garvey, what they achieved? Elijah Muhammad and Clara Muhammad, and all of the Bibis and Barbers that did it with this masculine and feminine energy coming together and pursuing success in business and in family and personal relationships. You need to get Love, Lies, and Liberation. It's a book, again, written by Dr. AJ Varma. We have to stop going to individuals that don't look like us as experts.
Yes.
We need to read our own folks.
Mm-hmm.
We need to read our own people. Go read The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man by Shahrazad Ali. We have to go to our Black writers and see what they did. And I know you told me to give you a book on business, those two because of habit. But when you want to know what business is, go read Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad. How did they create the successful businesses that they created? They understood who they were, that they were divine, that there was a bigger call into their life. They understood that the habits that they did resulted in the outcome because they're co-creators. They have a creative genius within them that comes from the creator. And now let's look at the blueprint. How could these individuals in a time when social media didn't exist, you couldn't go online and order anything, how were they able to move goods all over the world and have networks of franchises in the Black community, empowering and hiring our people? Follow those business principles that they had with the spiritual component. They operated with morals and ethics. So get those books and enrich your life today.
Yes. And I thought we were done, but we're not. I have another question for you, Elder, if that's okay, as we come to the conclusion of today's segment. Now, success can be measured, when we look at our confidence and ego and all of these different things, sometimes we have to measure it against what we really offer. What do we offer to the world? What do we offer to our partners? What do we offer to the people around us? In all actuality, right? Because the false ego will tell us that we have everything that is required. The false ego would tell us that we're someone that we're not, right? The false bravado will give us that boasting that we are, so necessary or needed in one's life, and that, we are the catch. It would give us all of these, false concepts of ourselves. So as we are measuring the reality of who we are and what we offer to the false ego that we may have created over time, how can we line these up to see where and what's missing, and then be able to go in and fill in those areas? Maybe take away some things, add some things, whatever needs to be done. Let's examine how a person can in real time take out their pen, take out their paper, and write this down. This is who I am. This is what I have shown myself to be. And this is how I can become or fill in these missing gaps and areas. Elder.
I'm going to give you something that I've used multiple times. The first thing is we have to learn to forgive ourselves. A lot of people are afraid to have a successful life because they think it's the just punishment for misdeeds or mistakes that they've made in their life. They're living in shame. Some people are afraid of success because they don't think they deserve it. My, what a way to live. We have to forgive ourselves. We can't live in regret. We have to understand that what we did was a mistake. Did we learn the lesson of that mistake? And now how can we use that mistake as fuel to adjust some things so that we can keep propelling forward? Today, I don't care what your goal is. Do these simple things that I've done multiple times on any goal. It can be a business goal. It can be a relationship goal. It can be a health goal. It could be a financial goal. First of all, do you know what you want? Start by writing an emotionally rich, a sensory rich statement on that thing. When I lose this 40 pounds, I am going to look so great in my all black whatever. I'm going to have on this perfume or these scented oils, and I'm going to go write an emotionally rich statement. Put a date on it. I am so happy that December 31st, 2024, I am at my desired weight of bam, bam, bam. I feel so great at this weight. Whatever the goal is, write a statement on it. Actually read it and see yourself living in that reality. Use all of the sensory imagery you can come up with. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you smelling? Who's there with you? What are they wearing? What color is it? What scent do they have on? What music is playing? What is the temperature? Write it emotionally rich so that you can connect with it. And you read that statement every morning and every night. So it starts to bleed into your subconscious. And even when you're not thinking about it, those images will continue to propel you towards that goal. And then you write down everything you can think of that can help you achieve that goal. Empty your mind with every single action that you can take that can bring that goal into reality. Write them all down. Then you choose the minimum amount of goals that will impact that end result. The individual amount of activity, keystone actions. So for example, if you say, I want to lose 40 pounds, then you may write, okay, drink more water, exercise, lift weights, resistance training, walk, don't eat carbs, don't eat sugar. Everything you can think of, write it down. And then select the best few items that will result in that goal. Only choose what is necessary. You don't need 10 things. You don't need 7 things. You may only need 5 things or 3 things. Choose only those keystone actions that have the most impact on that goal if you were to repeat them every day for suspended or considerable amount of time, and then do those things every day and measure your results every week by having an accountability partner. Every Sunday, you agree to speak with this person, and you're going to recap your week. How did you do this week? No, you got to do better. Give that person permission to coach you, but you have to do scorekeeping as well. And in every major sports, there's a scoreboard. You keep score. So you know that if you're doing 5 things a day, every day you give yourself a score. I did 4 of the 5, I got 90%, 80%. At the week, if you're under 80 to 85%, you're going to fail. If you're at 80% or higher, you're going to achieve that end result or be very close to it. So now every day I'm supposed to do 5 things. Monday I did 5, Tuesday I did 3, Wednesday I did 4. For the week I ended up at 82.5%. I'm on the right path, although I may have missed a couple of days. And every week you keep your scorecard. And it's going to manifest because you're now an active participant in the creation of your life.
Yes, yes. And that accountability partner that you mentioned, who should that be? I think sometimes, we call on the people that we know is going to, will agree with us.
It's someone you respect. It can't be someone whose life is a mess. It needs to be someone that's going to bring value to that topic. If it's a health issue, it needs to be someone that you think is healthy, that looks or seems to be living a life of health. They don't have to be a doctor, but there's someone that understands right? If you want to find out, if someone in business, it could be someone that has a barbershop, but they have a successful barbershop for 15 years. They know business. It doesn't have to be someone you're intimately involved with. It has to be someone you respect. And now you have to be willing. Yes.
They have to be willing to tell you the truth. They can't agree with you and everything that you.
No,
they have to say no.
They're creating an invalid.
Right.
They're creating an invalid. They're creating a weak person. And listen, lives can change. We all can change our lives. And don't think you got to get it all back right away. I've lost 100 pounds. It's taken me 15, 20 years to lose 100 pounds. I'm still working on everything, trying to continue to get healthy. It doesn't end because every day we're challenged to be better than we were yesterday.
Yeah.
So don't give up and don't let those past failures stop you. They are lessons, and keep depositing into your bank every day of the little wins so that you can replace them one day with bigger wins.
Now it's interesting you say that, Elder, because you mentioned that you're still working on yourself, right? But you still speak in front of crowds and in such a dynamic way, right? So you still possess that confidence. So just quickly tell us a little bit about your speaking engagements and how you still, get up there with so much confidence and what did it teach you? What does it teach you, when you get up there? If you can just give us a little bit of your experience.
I can tell you the first thing, and anyone, whenever you're speaking to anyone, right, especially in a business or if you're a guest speaker, you're the expert. They're sitting in the chair to hear what you have to say. You take that stage as the expert. I am the expert in this room. This is my room. Right? Yeah. You calm yourself down, take deep breaths. And if you're afraid to look at the audience, select someone right in the front. Someone that's receptive, that's smiling, that's nodding their head, and you focus on them. Yeah. And you go and you deliver. You understand, this is my moment. I'm the expert. They're here to listen to me.
This will be the last question for you for tonight. And I want to thank you again for being here, for joining us. And thank you again to the audience, to the viewers online. If you have, or what is, I would say, the one goal, the one dream that you want to fulfill, if you can name one going forward that you say, this is the one thing, what exactly would that be?
That's a great question. I've always said that I wanted to write a book because I've made so many mistakes, and I've traveled all over the world and spoken to audiences, 10,000 people, and been honored and been on stage. And so many people can write down goals, but so many don't know how to achieve goals. I think I would like to one day put a lot of my experiences in a book form that can help other people. And my daughter is someone that's specialized in English and creative writing, and I've spoken to her about this previously, and she's now here with me in Jamaica. So maybe this is the time for us to start to put some of these ideas and concepts and life experiences, from me being stabbed in my jugular vein and being shot at close range with a 12-gauge shotgun, to having 5 blood clots with 1 in my lung, to having so many health issues, but never saying, why me? Why not me? And how can I use my story to help others? And that's a goal that I think I'm going to pursue. Since you put it on me, right? since you're here to put boulders on people, you're putting boulders on my shoulders. Let me go ahead and try to get that.
We want to hold you accountable. So we got to get you on camera, okay? So I want to congratulate you, first off, for even, getting to this point in your journey and pushing through and really, really having that drive and determination. And congratulations to you and your family. I know you had a graduation recently, and your daughter's doing so well, and the wife and everything. So first off, we want to congratulate you, and not being selfish with your experience, but bringing your experience here to the Vantage Point and to the rest of the world. So thank you for joining us. Is there any last words you would like to give to the viewers today?
Thank you. Thank you for the platform, for the opportunity. And I just want to say, we have to return to true love. We have to become our brother's keeper, for real. True sisterhood, true brotherhood. Because when we operate from a position of love with each other, that opens the door for tremendous transformation, for conversion, for healing, for growth, for maximizing the potential we all have. Because we all have an expiry date. We just don't know what that date is. That carton of milk, that date is right on the front or the back. We don't know our date, but we do know that we have a day to go. And let's use the time we have. Let's be grateful. Let's be thankful. Because if we can't be grateful and thankful in small things, how can we be grateful with bigger things? Let's operate with pure love. I ask everyone to find a faith-based organization that resonates with you, that identifies with you, that will enable you to become a better person, not by just preaching, but by teaching, but by having an environment of individuals that can help you achieve the struggles that life brings. Find that faith-based organization. If you don't have one, reach out to us. Go to www.journeyhomegroup.com. Hit the Contact Us button. Put your name and email address there. Let's reach out to you and put you on a path to realizing the divinity you have within. Thank you to the Holy Coptic Church, to Atonism, and to the Vantage Point for helping to shape my reality and for allowing me an opportunity to share with everyone the journeys of my life. Thank you.
We would like to thank you, and thank you again to those online. One thing that was said today is that change begins with an individual. You are that individual. You can't change your brother, your mother, your sister, your daughter. I can't change my brother, my mother, my sister, my daughter. I can only inspire them to change. I can only inspire myself to change. So because you are that individual, the question is, what decisions will you make? What decisions will you make for your life? What decisions will you make to really push you to your limit to become greater than you have ever been before? And that's what this was about today. So we pray to see you again for another week. Join us next Friday here on The Vantage Point. And until then, peace and love. You all be blessed.